Here we are. Hi, guys. Welcome to another amazing day of Find Your Superpower, Hack Your Body and Mind to Become Unstoppable. I'm here with Jenny Brockis. Sorry. Hi, Jenny. How are you today?
I'm really well, thank you. And I'm delighted to be with you. It's wonderful.
Very happy to have you. I love to connect with people from different part of the world, and that's just today the beauty of internet connecting with everybody, right? So
Yeah.
thank you guys for being here. Today we're going to talk with Jenny about how to choose a thriving mind. But before we going deep into the question, I just want you to remind you to take a pen and a paper because there's going to be a lot of information going on. And you know how passionate I've been into putting my energy into this summit. So don't miss out. And then, Jenny, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, please?
Sure. Okay. So I'm originally from the UK. I've lived in Australia now for well over 30 years. I trained as a medical doctor and loved always being of service to people, helping people to be restored to full health and well-being. But there was a little time when I felt that there was something missing, and I came to realize that really I sometimes felt I was just putting band-aids on people rather than getting to the real nitty-gritty of what was leading them to becoming unwell in the first place. And that led me to explore the wonderful world of lifestyle medicine, which basically looks at the science to help us to understand what we can do to prevent ill health. And that sort of transformed what I did, because I used to work as what we have as general practitioners. So people would come to me with all sorts of different things. And I changed that to move out into the community. So I no longer had an office as such, to spread the word about how we can be really healthy and look after our well-being in particularly the workplace, because a lot of people I used to see coming to see me when I was in my office were getting sick because of work, and that wasn't good. And so I really wanted to address what was going on for them in the workplace specifically. So I specialized in brain health, mental well-being, which is so incredibly important, and particularly at this time of world events, and social connection, how important our relationships are for our health. So that's what I do now. And I love what I do. It's what gets me up out of bed in the morning. And I also keep loving to learn new stuff. There's so much new information coming out all the time. And I write prolifically about it as well. So I'm always writing articles, I'm writing blog pieces, and I've written 4 books as well.
Love it. I love it. And Jenny, what really connect me with you, I found your website and I just loved your energy and what you're bringing to people. You can see that you're doing that with your heart, right? It's your passion. So I just loved it. So now, Jenny, in your role as a lifestyle medicine physician, which area do you see most people having the biggest difficulties?
I think there's lots of intention out there where people want to be healthier. However, I think at the moment, the way we often choose to live our lives and is causing a lot of people a great deal of stress. And with current world events, when we're living through a pandemic, this has elevated our level of stress to the point where it's really tricky to know how to look after our well-being. Even if we normally have good ways of looking after our diet, making sure we're getting enough exercise and sleep, it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. And I think at the moment, the biggest issue for people is keeping their stress in the healthy zone, so it can actually assist them rather than dragging them down so they don't feel so great.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you're talking about stress, but you were talking about diet and exercising. And I know it's a big part, right, of how we can use that to lower the stress. But many people just focus on diet and exercises, right, as a way of keeping healthy. So my next question to you is, how do you advise people who want to make a start on improving their health and well-being? What would be the first step for them to take?
I think the first thing would be to get somebody to step back and ask the question, what is most important to me in terms of my health and well-being? And because we're all slightly different. For some people, it is going to be that they absolutely have to have 8 hours of sleep every night. For some people, it's going to be that they have to undertake some sort of breathing or relaxation exercise or meditation practice. There are many aspects of what makes us whole, and we have different priorities within those. So I think the first thing is to understand what makes us complete or feel complete, and then to sort of rate ourselves on how well we're actually going, and to do it honestly, because we can always kid ourselves that we're doing okay. But if we're really honest and say, well, yeah, maybe I'm not doing quite so well in this particular area here, and write it down, and then to ask ourselves the question, okay, what would make the biggest difference to me right now? And if you know it's a particular aspect, then that's your starting point. You know that's the first thing to tackle. So if it's high levels of stress which are causing you to feel uncomfortable, then you go down that avenue. If it's a sleep problem, then you go down that avenue. So it's going to be a different thing for different people, and I think we just have to sort of work it out for ourselves. There's no one size fits all, except all the different facets of our health come together to make us complete.
I love this. And it's so true when you say, like, different people have it's not like a one size fit all, right? So different people have different how would I say that? Some people would need sleep to work on the sleep. Some people would need to work on the stress, on the diets, these different things. So now, Jenny, imagine we are like wonderful witch, and you like just have you waving your magic wand. What would you like for us all to be doing differently today?
Okay, that's a great question, and I like the magic wand. I think I can get that out and start waving it around at people. I think what I would really love to see is everybody start to embrace the healthier lifestyle through self-care and through self-permission. So many people I meet have the best of intention. They say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I say, fantastic. But you know what? Because they're also busy, because they've got so many other priorities in their lives, they just don't get around to doing it. And ladies, we are particularly guilty of that, because we tend to be the ones who are nurturing and taking care of everybody else, and we put everybody else's needs first rather than our own. So I think I would really love the message to get out that self-care is not selfish. Self-care is absolutely essential. If we are going to be the best version of ourselves, we have to start with number one.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that, but it's as hard as that too, because sometimes it's all tied up. We feel guilty, or we think, oh no, I ought to be doing something else first. And we've just got to shift that mindset and say, no, actually, this is what's really, really important. I have got to be on the top of my game, and this is what it's going to take. And so I have signed my permission slip. I don't know if you've ever had to do this, but when my kids were at school, we were always getting these little permission slips. Please, can Tom go to the zoo tomorrow, or something like that? And so we'd have to give our permission. Well, we need to give ourselves permission to look after our own health.
And it's very hard, right? Because I mean, most of us are people who want to thrive all the time and just to get better, right? It's like get better, faster, jump higher, right? This is Coubertin, who said for the Olympic Games, but we can apply that to everything we're doing, for your job, for your family. You want to become a better mom, a better wife, a better daughter, a better whatever. So we always want to push ourselves, and we realize that at the end, we're just going to burn ourselves. And self-care is so important today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that the message about not trying too hard is really critical, as you just alluded to, because sometimes we think, oh, well, in that case, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times this week, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's unrealistic, which makes it harder to achieve, and we're more likely to fall over more quickly. Yeah. But also, all this pushing and shoving isn't actually contributing to our health and well-being. Sometimes it's about stepping back and letting go and going, oh, just breathing out a little bit. Because if you find that sort of state of calm and contentment, which is a very important part of our health and well-being, it's easier then to see what needs to be added in, but you can do it in small increments, piece by piece, gently, rather than this sort of, oh, well, I'm going to force it all in now quickly because I want to really be thriving, as you say. That's not thriving. That's trying too hard. So it's a subtle difference again, but it's very relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. And today it's so true, especially with this pandemic, right? We put so much stress on ourselves. But then, and that's going to be my next question to you, Jenny. I see for myself this pandemic, I'm normally, as a professional athlete in the ocean, I always push myself. I kite, surf, work out all the time. So now we don't have access to the beach. Here in the Dominican Republic, the beach are closed, which means I cannot play the entire day, work out, or do my exercise. So I have to learn to do some self-care. So this pandemic has changed, this global pandemic has changed a lot of things around the world. So how do you see, or do you believe anything good will come out of this time, out of this global pandemic, which actually has created a massive disruption? But do you think there's something coming out of that? And if you do, tell us what.
It's really bittersweet, isn't it? Because the pandemic is causing so much disruption, chaos, and, well, it's causing people ill health, and some people are losing their lives. I mean, it's disaster. However, in this time of enforced lockdown, where we have had to self-isolate and do things very differently, I think it has been a time of opportunity to reflect, to really press the pause button and say, okay. Because for many people before COVID-19, I think many people were caught up in this bubble of being busy all the time. Busy, 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 work, work, work. And they weren't really living as a full life. And although there might have been some understanding that maybe things could be different, things could be better, this has actually provided us the time to really reflect on that. And I think the one thing that has been strengthened during this time, and I can't say this is true for everybody, obviously, but for many people and many families, it's been a time where, because people have had to spend more time together at home, relationships have been really strengthened. Communication skills have been practiced again. Instead of relying on our technology to connect and just send a quick text message or something, that we're actually having conversations, we're speaking with each other, actually listening sometimes to each other. And I think it's the strength of our social network, which is so important to our health and well-being. And I think the one aspect to come out of this, hopefully, is the realization of just how important the strength of our positive relationships are, and to seek whatever it takes beyond COVID-19 to ensure that we maintain these in every aspect of our life, whether it's at home, whether it's with our friends, or whether it's in the workplace. So that it's interesting. The research has shown that, you know, we can look after our weight, we can look after our blood pressure, and we can look after the cholesterol and stuff like that. But it was the research from Harvard, the world's longest study looking into adult development. I don't know if you've come across this. It's still going. It started in 1938, I think, where they followed two groups of young men, essentially, to find out what really makes the biggest difference for health and happiness in life. And they had one group of boys from Harvard, so, you know, well-to-do, nice, you know, good background, and had the world at their feet, bloody, woof, woof. And they took another group of socially very disadvantaged boys from Boston and followed them every 2 years. Every 2 years. They were sent surveys, they were interviewed in their homes, their parents were questioned. And by the time they reached their 50s, more questions were asked. And what the researchers have discovered is that what truly determines how well we will age is the strength of our social relationships. When we have close, committed relationships, we deal with things so much better. Things that are worrying us and stressing us don't become such a big issue anymore. We can cope, we can manage, we get through this. And this is essential now, would you agree? So this is the time to really look after our relationships, because, hey, if we're all going to get well into our 80s or 90s or beyond, it's going to be hopefully enjoying good health and happiness as well, because that's what makes life enjoyable, right? And so we can do that and achieve it so much more easily by paying attention and nurturing these important relationships to us. So it's not about having, you know, millions of friends on Facebook or something like that. I'm talking about real close relationships, the ones that matter.
Yeah, I love it. And actually, I realize it's like everyone connect with their family, even if they are apart. I never called my dad in France so many times as those last 2 months. Right?
Yeah.
I would call him once a month, and now I call him every 2-3 days. And actually, it's funny because my dad is 81. He's having a blast. He's having the time of his life. He has a new girlfriend. She cooks for him. They have lunch. She's 20 years younger. He's like, why should I complain? I'm with my new girlfriend the entire day. I call the supermarket. They deliver food. I don't have to get it. Life is amazing. I went to a bar, people were killed. It's like, here, you guys just have to sit on the sofa and wait that this is over. Well, it's a little simple way, but the reason he's so happy is like, we call him every 2-3 days, my brother and me. So he sees us every day. He's with a girlfriend. So there's a real connection here. And before we call him once a month and that's it, forget about him. So I realized that we connected with people we really care for, because we, in a way, we worry about their health, the mental health, the physical health. So we connect with them. And I feel that it brings us back together. Like we used to be, a grandparent used to be like big family dinner in France. We had dinner and we were like 50 people on the table, because you have all the family coming, bring the kids, the grandkids, and the dinner never ends up, right? It's a full evening, full day. So I can see there's something positive in that it brings us back together. Yeah.
Very much so. That's a wonderful story. I love it.
Yeah, he's really happy.
It's so true, and I think this is where technology has been a lifesaver, because we have this marvelous technology available to us where we can see each other. And like you say, you know, in the times past, people used to come together, have big family meals and things like that, but they had to rely on writing letters to communicate, which always was slower and take time, but they were prolific letter writers. We've stopped writing letters, but hey, we do have the ability to pick up the phone or to have FaceTime or some other way of actually eyeballing each other.
Yeah.
And that is so reassuring, and it really does bring that sense of connection to us. And I think at this time, reaching out, especially to people that we wouldn't normally reach out to so often, is particularly important, even though they're far too busy and enjoying themselves and having such a great time that, hey, well, it's nice of you to call, darling, but you know, I'm busy at the moment.
Yeah.
But it is really important. So I think this is the one thing that I think the pandemic has certainly taught me, and in conversation with other people, I'm hearing the same thing. It's really made them realize just how important human connection really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Jenny, I know you have a book coming out in August. So can you tell us the name, what's about, and the reason we should get it and read it?
It's such a brilliant book, of course. That's why you should read it.
Absolutely.
It's called Thriving Mind: How to Cultivate a Good Life. And I wrote it because I was concerned, and I wrote it pre-COVID, but I wrote it because I was concerned about the amount of overwork, overwhelm and stress I was seeing in people. Many people were on the verge of burnout, and I thought, well, this is not good. So I really wanted to address that. And there have been a number of books written about how to be happy. And so I wanted to incorporate that, because when you feel happier, everything feels easier. So I wanted to address what we can do to enhance our mental well-being and stay in that happier state. I also wanted to address all the physical aspects of what it takes to truly thrive. So this is where I get really stuck into the diet and the exercise and the play and the music and the laughter and the dance and all those sort of things that contribute to our, you know, full physical thrival. And then the third piece is all about social connection, you know, the importance of kindness, compassion, trust, and empathy. So it's a little book with a big message, and it's designed for people to take away some ideas, some thoughts about how it reflects on them, and what they can take away to maybe improve how they go about their lives, so that they can truly learn how to thrive as well. So that's it in a nutshell, and I'm hoping it will have a really broad reach. So yes, I'm really excited. It's coming out on the 1st of August. Woohoo!
Love it. And remind us the name.
It's called Thriving Mind.
Love it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's called Thriving Mind: How to Cultivate a Good Life.
I love it. And it's just great. It's a great timing, right? It's just like now everyone should have that next to their bed and read it before going to bed, couple page. Yeah, so that's right. Awesome. I wish, like, I'm gonna get one of those. So you guys know what to get before the summer. You have your summer books. And I know, Jenny, you also have a very generous gift that the audience will receive right away by clicking on the button underneath the interview. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. This is another of my books. It's called Brain Smart. And I wrote it really to help people to stay focused and less distracted on what they're doing, because I think this is really important in our lives and in our workplaces, so that we can actually stay on track and do what we've got to do, and do it to the level we know we're really capable of. So, yep, this is one of my books, and I'd love people to access it and read it, and I'd love to hear from them what they think about it as well.
Cool. So guys, click on the button just underneath the interview and get Jenny's ebook. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jenny. This was great. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for sharing all your information, your new book. Good luck with that and your ebook. This is so generous. So thank you. You have a wonderful day in Australia. It's just the beginning of the day for you. It's the end of the day here for us.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here again, following us today. I will see you guys tomorrow, and you all have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.